The race in Pocono was a disaster for Richard Childress Racing. This has been another bad race in a long list this season. This time, however, their driver, Kyle Busch, was taken out by another car on the grid, Corey LaJoie. The team owner, Richard Childress, was absolutely furious with Corey and showed no restraint while commenting on the incident. And we want you to show no restraint with your passion towards NASCAR. We certainly don't. So hit that subscribe button to join a community filled with passionate NASCAR fans. Don't miss out on all the fun. During the start of the final stage of the race, Kyle Busch found himself in 16th place ahead of Corey LaJoie. However, Corey was hell-bent on getting past. No matter what move he tried, Busch used his years of experience to block out. But as the cars approached turn 1, Corey decided to throw a dive bomb on the inside. This took out Busch along with a few other cars. After the incident, LaJoie and his crew showed no regrets and were ruthless in their communication. Here are the voices from LaJoie's radio just seconds after the incident. He hooked himself. LaJoie's team says, "Fuck him. We ain't worried about him. We're worried about ourselves." It's clear that Corey's team didn't care more or less about how Busch's race was affected. But RCR's team owner, Richard Childress, was more than furious. He gave a rather short but strong statement to the media. "That damn 7, LaJoie, is a weapon. A damn weapon," Childress said. The move that LaJoie made to try to get past Busch was as dangerous and stupid as it gets. Going into that first corner on the track, you can't take a lower line than Busch did. But Corey wanted that inside line, and everyone paid the price for it. Busch, along with Ryan Preece, Harrison Burton, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., were all taken out of the race. Harrison Burton stated how driving like an ass is important to get results in the sport when you're driving in the midfield or at the back. "It's always erratic. That's what we do now," Burton said after a check at the infield care center. "It's just part of how we race. These cars are so close and track position is so important. You just have to kind of race like an ass, which is hard. It's hard to do and not overstep your bounds. That's just the nature of this beast. The best guys at it are really smooth and consistent while being at that level." Corey LaJoie, on the other hand, had no regrets with what he did. He knew that the other drivers were mad at him, but didn't care. "I'm sure he's mad. I'm sure there were guys that got caught up that were made. But I didn't feel like it was a bonehead move. I had a run. I got to the left rear, he blocked it twice, and the second time it spun his ass out." When asked if he would have done things differently if he had got the chance to go at it again, he said, "No, you've got to take the run," said LaJoie, who was hampered by a lap 96 pit road speeding penalty. "You know, I don't want to. I'm not the guy that wants to wreck anybody. But I think if Kyle blocks only once, then we both go around the corner and live to fight another day. But that second block that he thought he had it covered and he didn't was what did him in, and did a couple other guys in. But man, it's really hard. It's so freaking hard to run 19th. I mean, it's all I got, tongue hanging out, so you have to be perfect. I think Kyle and I have been racing around each other long enough. We are not going to smash into each other on purpose," LaJoie said. "We both are guys that feel like we belong, certainly him. But I mean, I'm not going to say sorry. I'm not sorry about it, because that was the thing. If the shoe was on the other foot, the exact same thing would have happened. And I think he would probably say that." Given that LaJoie was in the midfield, he had shown no restraint in that move. He knew that he needed to take certain risks to achieve a good result in the race. At the same time, the drivers at the front are usually more cautious during the race as they have a lot more to lose. Here's what Busch said about the accident. "It doesn't matter what I think. You have mirrors and cameras and everything else. So you try to get in front of the run that's coming. And I was trying to get in front of that run, and sometimes, some don't lift." When he spoke to the media, Kyle seemed almost unbothered by his DNF at Pocono. Like I mentioned before, he has given up on his season. "Yeah, no question. I mean, definitely," Busch said about his struggles this season. "I don't think you and hem and haw or dance around that answer of that question, because it is frustrating. But, there's a process here. And, you know, there's a big circle of success that's happened in this sport. There's guys at the top, then guys at the bottom. They circle back around to the top. I was at the top for a long, long time, and felt really, really good to be there. So now, just in a different realm and trying to figure out how to climb that. It's way easier to fall than it is to crawl back up. So we'll just keep figuring out what those ways are." This was yet another one among a long list of bad races for Kyle Busch and RCR. But troubles for the number 8 crew started way before the race even started. When the cars took to the track on Saturday for practice, Busch faced a lot of issues with the steering. As the car was parked on pit road, one of the crew members noticed an oil leak. The car was immediately taken to the garage and caused Busch to miss out on the qualifying session. Forced to start from the back, Busch had a pretty decent race until that incident with Corey. The team's owner, Richard Childress, was as surprised as everyone in the garage about the oil leak. "It didn't leak yesterday, it didn't leak this morning," Childress said on Saturday. "Pulled it on the line and one of the guys seen a little leak under it. Here's a little crack. It's kind of spongy all the way through here. Don't know if it's the faulty line or what, but you can see right there where the crack comes through. We're in the middle of it right now, but these cars, you have to drop everything from out under them. All the under panel and everything. It's gonna be close, but we're gonna make it. We gotta start in the rear, so we gotta change a lot of strategy that we worked out this morning. So now you just go from there, and I'm sure with all our guys, we'll figure it out. Had a lot of other teams give us a hand, some of the Hendrick guys and Trackhouse, and we all jumped in there and got it on the line. Luckily, the team was able to get the car ready for the race, but that served no purpose due to the DNF. The 2024 Cup Series season has been the worst for Kyle Busch and RCR. There's no doubt that the team has to do something to revive their glory. Last week in Chicago, things seemed to be a bit positive for RCR with Busch's 9th place finish, but they once again suffered in the next race in Pocono. There are only 5 more races in this regular season, and it looks as though Kyle Busch will not make it to the playoffs unless he wins a race, which seems close to impossible at the moment. RCR will now have to worry about losing their star driver. Just a few weeks back, Busch stated that he would not hesitate to go to a top team, such as Joe Gibbs Racing or Hendrick Motorsports, if he was offered the opportunity. However, both these teams have confirmed the lineup for the 2025 season, and Busch does have a contract with RCR for next year. But after that, anything can happen. There's no doubt that Kyle Busch will be looking at his options at other teams. He's currently 39 years old. He's in the final years of his prime. If he's not able to go to a strong team after 2025, he might never get that chance to fight for the championship again. The only chance RCR has to retain Busch is to prove that they can start competing at the front once again. This year is pretty much out of the question. However, RCR can use the rest of this year to collect data and build a better car next year. Do you think RCR can recover from this rut and get back to competing for race wins next year? If so, will it be sufficient to convince Kyle Busch to stay on for a few more years? Post your thoughts in the comments section below.